October 1st, 2013. 3:15 in the afternoon. A man sits in the science fiction section of a public library. Headphones on, eyes on a screen. To everyone around him, he's just another guy doing his homework. He has no idea 3 federal agents are closing in right now, across the room. He has no idea his laptop unlocked, logged in, lived is the only piece of evidence the FBI has chased for 2 years. In 60 seconds, the man the world will know as Dread Pirate Roberts, mastermind of $1 billion criminal empire, is going to be in handcuffs. It's all going to come down to one mistake. One open laptop, one login screen he forgot to lock. This is the story of how a 29-year-old physics grad turned libertarian idealist built the most notorious marketplace on the internet, and how it all fell apart between the stacks in under 60 seconds. Before he was Dread Pirate Roberts, he was just Ross, Texas-born Eagle Scout, a physics degree from the University of Texas, a master's in materials science from Penn State. By every conventional measure, Ross was supposed to end up in a lab or a boardroom. Instead, he became obsessed with an idea that a free market, left completely alone, could fix what politics couldn't. He believed people should have the right to buy and sell whatever they wanted without a government standing in the way. It's a seductive idea. Freedom, absolute and unregulated. But Ross didn't just believe it. He decided to build it in 2011, sitting at a laptop, probably not so different from the one that would end his freedom. 2 years later, Ross Ulbricht started writing code for a website he believed could change the world. He just didn't know yet what kind of world he was about to create. He called it Silk Road, named after the ancient trade routes that connected empires. Built on Tor, a network that made users untraceable and powered by a barely understood currency called Bitcoin. Silk Road launched in February 2011. Us in Ross's mind, a marketplace for freedom. What it became, almost immediately, was the largest narcotics marketplace the internet had ever seen. But the drugs weren't what made it work. The design did. Every transaction ran through escrow. A buyer's money sat in limbo until the package arrived. No package, no payout. For the first time, a stranger selling narcotics online had skin in the game. And then came the feature that changed everything. The rating system. 5 stars for fast shipping. 5 stars for product purity. Vendors building reputations over months, competing for loyalty. The same psychological machinery running underneath Amazon, eBay, Uber. Except here, the product wasn't a phone case. It was heroin. Cocaine. And somehow, that didn't stop people from trusting it. For a lot of users, Silk Road felt safer than the street. Safer, in some strange psychological sense, than not knowing what you'd been sold at all. Buyers knew a vendor's track record. They believed they knew exactly what they were getting. Vacuum sealed. Delivered through the US Postal Service to their actual front door. That should unsettle you. Not that a criminal built a marketplace, but that he built one so frictionless, thousands of ordinary people trusted an anonymous stranger online more than the person selling them a used car face to face. Ross proved something uncomfortable. Trust isn't really about legality, or even truth. It's about design. By 2013, Silk Road had processed over $1 billion. Ross Dread Pirate Roberts was sitting on a personal fortune worth tens of millions. He had built his utopia. But empires built outside the law tend to attract people who live outside it. 2. By 2012, federal agencies, the DIA, the FBI, Homeland Security, had converged on one target. Silk Road wasn't a rumor anymore. It was priority one, and underneath Ross's marketplace, a war was already underway. Fought entirely in code. Tor bounced every connection through encrypted relays, layer over layer. Like an onion, strip one away, you'd only find another. No single point revealed where traffic started, or where it was going. For investigators, The front door simply didn't exist. On top of that, every message between buyers, sellers, and Dread Pirate Roberts himself was wrapped in PGP encryption, scrambling communication into unreadable noise without the right key. This wasn't a Bakali operation. This was a fortress built from cryptography governments themselves were still struggling to crack. The FBI couldn't break Tor. They couldn't break P, so they stopped trying to break the technology at all. Instead, they went looking for the one thing encryption can never protect: human error. They found it in an old forum post, years old, from Silk Road's earliest days, when Ross, under a different username, had asked for programming help. That post contained an email address. That address contained his real name. One sentence, typed years earlier, in a moment of carelessness, was about to unravel a billion-dollar empire. Investigators noticed Dread Pirate Roberts' chat activity consistently lined up with Pacific time, narrowing the hunt to a single coast. By September 2013, an IRS investigator working the case had a name, a face, an address. Ross Ulbricht was living quietly in San Francisco, completely unaware. The walls were already closing in. Ross believed in something called the sovereign individual, the idea that a person, free from government interference, would naturally make rational, responsible choices. It's a beautiful theory, but theories don't have to answer for what happens after the transaction closes. Ross never had to watch a package arrive, never had to sit with a family afterward, or explain an overdose to someone who loved the person it happened to. He built a frictionless marketplace for freedom. What it delivered, in practice, was frictionless access to substances that don't care about philosophy at all. Somewhere between Ross's vision of sovereign individuals and the real bodies behind those choices, the theory and the consequence stopped lining up, and no amount of encryption was ever going to close that distance. October 1st, 2013, the day from the very beginning of this story. Federal agents had fanned out across Glen Park, watching every public space with free Wi-Fi. Their target had one fatal weakness. To run Silk Road, Dread Pirate Roberts had to log in. The moment he did, the man and the moniker would be in the same place, at the same time. An undercover agent settled into a coffee shop near Ulbricht's apartment and opened a chat with the Silk Road admin team. Ross left almost immediately, too crowded. He walked 30 feet down the street and disappeared into the Glen Park Library. Moments later, Dread Pirate Roberts signed back online. The agent typed a simple message. "Are you there?" It was a trap built on a single behavioral pattern. Ross walked directly into it. The instant he was confirmed, logged in as Dread Pirate Roberts. On the Silk Road site itself, agents moved. They grabbed his laptop before he could close it. A third agent handcuffed him. Right there, between the stacks. A flash drive copied the open session in real time, capturing him logged in as Dread Pirate Roberts at the exact second of his arrest. There would be no denying it, no explaining it away. He was caught, digitally and physically, red-handed. In 2015, Ross Ulbricht was convicted on charges, including running a continuing criminal enterprise, narcotics, trafficking, and money laundering conspiracy. Sentenced to 2 life terms, plus 40 years. No parole. For over a decade, Free Ross became a rallying cry for libertarians, cryptocurrency advocates, anyone who believed the sentence had outpaced the crime. Then, in January 2025, President Donald Trump granted Ulbricht a full and unconditional pardon. That evening, after more than 11 years in federal prison, Ross Ulbricht walked free. The idealist who tried to build a world without rules ended up needing the system he despised to let him out. Ross Ulbricht believed privacy was a right worth building an empire to protect. The federal government believed no encryption, no Tor network, no anonymous currency puts anyone beyond the reach of the law. Both of those things turned out to be true at the same time. So here's the question worth sitting with. In a world of total surveillance, is true privacy even possible anymore? Or is it just a matter of time before someone, somewhere, finds your one mistake? Tell me where you land in the comments. Subscribe to Silicon Shadows. New cases every week. The truth is always stranger than the algorithm.